Okay, hello. All right, there is a new Ava movie, a new Evangelion movie. That's what, in case you didn't know what the abbreviation was for. That just came out. I want to say I watched it about, I think, almost exactly 24 hours ago. And I really wanted to record a video of just kind of like streaming my thoughts. I thought that would be a lot easier than writing them down. I wanted to do it at like as soon as I saw it. Like, oh, this is my thoughts right coming off the screen, but I couldn't do it. I tried, and it was like I need like a solid day. I need literally 24 hours to just kind of process everything that happened. In a lot of ways, well, in case you don't know the title, I don't know why you're clicking this. You don't know the title. Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0, Thrice Upon a Time. Which I gotta say, I really never loved that title. I loved the naming scheme they had with the other ones. You are not alone. You cannot advance. I loved those. Thrice Upon a Time to me just sounds like it sounds like a Disney animated movie or something, or you know what I mean, like a CG DreamWorks movie or something about Snow White gets a third chance or something. I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, so I never really loved that title. But anyway, but I do always appreciate the whole, like, I don't know if it's Ano or just whoever involved in the Ava team. They always love to break their own rules. So I guess in a way it symbolizes that. But yeah, it is what it is. Anyway, why was I bringing up the title in the first place? I'm already getting sidetracked. I didn't write anything down in case that's not abundantly clear. But yeah, so the movie came out yesterday. I just feel like what I was gonna say was it was an interesting. The movie was an interesting combination of having a story that was actually kind of surprisingly, for Ava's standards, easy to follow. Relatively, I'm talking just like the plot. We got to go here, and I'm going to get into spoilers in this video, by the way. So you probably don't want to watch this if you haven't watched the movie. But I'm just going to randomly spoil stuff. But it was relatively easy to follow from just the story perspective. Hey, come to this village. Check out our village. Oh, by the way, the Wonder is coming, or however, is it Wunder? What do you call the big ship? I don't know. I just read the subtitles. But anyway, that's coming, and then turns out Gendo is actually going to the South Pole where Second Impact happened. So we're gonna chase him down there because he's gonna repeat that. And I don't know. It was like, normally I feel like with certain Ava things in the past, I had to watch them like 8 times before I kind of even realized what was happening. That might just be me. But this one had a surprising amount. It was a combination of a plot I could actually follow, but still heavy with the lore. And in fact, the lore was shotgun blasted hot and heavy to where I feel like, again, reading subtitles, I'm like, wow, a lot of terms are just flying by right now. And there were, I think I might have paused it a couple times, but I didn't really want to do that a lot because I really kind of wanted to just see it as it was meant to be. I get really like picky about that. I get like, I want to see it the way you wanted me to see it. The way when you made it, I want to see it that way. So it was a combination of those things, and so I feel like just having seen it once, I've only watched it one time, a lot of things have whooshed past me, so there may be a few things that I just don't quite pick up on or nail. So bear with me because I'm still I had to sleep on it, and it was a long day, and I'm still processing everything. In general, like, hold on, I gotta get ready for this. Okay, gotta wet the pipes. Here we go. In general, I liked it very much. I enjoyed the entire rebuild thing completely. All 4 of the movies I thoroughly enjoyed. To me, this was more about revisiting the material and reflecting on it now versus like carving a new path for Evangelion, you know. Even when it started to divert into a different direction, I still felt like it was still reflecting on Eva as a thing that has existed. And where do I stand with it now? Referring to like the creator of it, referring to its nature, to, you know, to the fan base or whatever. I feel like it was always about that, rather than, you know, blazing a new path for the series or, you know, whatever. And it always kind of confused me. I don't know how this will sound, but it was always a little confusing to me when I would hear people say like, oh, you know, these Eva movies, they're just not as good as the original. They're just not as good. You know, give me the original series and movie. This new stuff, it's just, you know, they didn't do it as well as the old. And I just kind of, I don't know, I feel like these new movies were not designed to be that. First of all, I mean, they absolutely struck lightning in a bottle with that first show. I mean, there was just a perfect combination of things to make it what it was. And for an anime to be that legendary, I don't think it's realistic for anything to try to like, oh, we're going to do that and nail it. But just with this, it never, to me, felt like it was designed to like be anything but a revisit to that material and a reflection on it. So to me, when I would hear, you know, it's one thing to like it or not like it, that's fine. But whenever I would hear like, yep, not as good as the original show, to me that always kind of sounded like the Lord of the Rings behind the scenes documentaries are definitely not as good as the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Like, yeah, well, yeah, it's a reflection on it. It's not, to me, designed to be, you know, anything more than that. It's, I don't know. It was like this show was so definitively done and finished. I just feel like there was nothing else to do other than kind of like, I don't know, kind of speculate on it further. And you know, when they announced the new movies, I kind of feel like they picked the best way to revisit Evangelion. It wasn't, oh, we're going to do, you know, it wasn't all this, you know, all these new frontiers. It was honestly like, we're going to revisit that material and kind of like look at it in a new way and maybe from a different angle and just kind of, I don't know, it's a new age and the creator is in a different place and what's that going to be? Anyway, whatever. I'm repeating myself, but you know what I mean? So I valued the new Eva movies as that. I thought it was really cool. I'd never really seen someone do it like that. I'd never really seen it done in that way. And I thought they were exciting. Again, the story I loved was finished. So anything after that this was a wonderful return. If some other schmuck was working on it, I'd be like, yeah, I'm good. But the fact that Ono, the original creator and the voice of the embodiment of the show, was back, to me it was like, yeah, this, I mean, where do you lose? So I really enjoyed them all. And this latest one I really thought was really one of the better ways. I can't think of a much better way, I should say, to end that. To kind of look back and look forward with this thing that meant so much to people. I think it ended about as good as you could do it. You know, I have things I feel either way on, but in general, I thought it was a great wrap up. So I guess just kind of starting from the beginning, well, first of all, yeah, the thing I really enjoyed, there's a few things that I enjoyed, just as, what am I trying to say here? There are a few things I enjoyed the most. I should say, like, things that I've kind of always wanted to see in Evangelion. And one of those I really liked, something that I really loved in the second Rebuild movie in 2.2, or what is it now? 2.2222, whatever. I really loved that little slice of life moment with all of the Tokyo 3 citizens. And again, that felt like that was a perfect moment to me of we're deep into this material we love, but we're seeing an angle we never saw before. What's just daily life like in Tokyo 3? The buildings rise up, people are chilling, and buying groceries, I just love that kind of like peaceful moment, I always thought that was really, really cool. And we got that like on steroids in the first hour of 3.0 plus 1.0. I was so pleased that we got Studio Ghibli's Neon Genesis Evangelion, or whatever you want to call it. It really almost felt like a tribute to them, which is appropriate given where Ono came from and his background with Miyazaki and all that. But that really felt like a version of Eva we never got, maybe kind of deep down always wanted. I don't know if everybody always wanted that, but to me, in 2021, to get like just some time to like live a peaceful life among these characters, and Shinji's still kind of torn up by what happened in 3.0, but I don't know, I was like really affected by that, and like Rei kind of never having those little joys and those little, I don't know, like that was like extremely special to me that we got to just let Rei explore those feelings. It wasn't that part of it wasn't really bogged down by any kind of sci-fi stuff. I mean, I love the lore and the sci-fi side of Eva, but to just kind of let that be was really cool. And there's stuff later on in the movie I kind of wish they did that more with, but I'll get into that later, I think. But yeah, just Rei kind of living her best life in the countryside, and seeing all these kids that we knew from the show but grown up, and that was like, I don't know, it was really like, I'm glad there was time to hang out with all them in the final chapter. It would have been easy to just make this movie the final battle, and that's the whole movie, or here's all the stuff that happened in the 14 years Shinji was gone during, and I really, I have a thirst to see all that and know what happened, and all that stuff. There's a lot of things we still want answered. But at this time, at this day and age, I kind of feel like after all this, let those awesome characters just breathe for a little while. I feel like after all this, we earned that. They earned that. It was poignant just letting them kind of have this peaceful life and being part of it for a little bit. So anyway, I really liked that aspect of it. Trying to think. Again, didn't note any of this down, so this is stream of consciousness. I think if there's anything I'm mixed about with the rebuild movies, I think there is such I'm not like doing a diss here, I guess, but this is just for my taste. I guess where I'm critical is I feel like the nature of the action in them changed in 3 and 4 versus 1 and 2. 1 and 2, I felt like they took all these exciting angel battles and like flipped them on their head and kind of did interesting stuff with them, and I was really engaged. And I'm talking just about like the cool action and stuff. I felt like 3 and 4, it's hard to critique because I think there's real creativity there and like galaxy brain planning with these battles, but in 3 and 4 they kind of turn into maybe they're too galaxy brain for me. Maybe my brain is too much of a peanut to grasp, but there's such big scale CGI blitzes of stuff that I'm kind of left like Like it's weird. Like I'm seeing them and I'm acknowledging this is like incredible what they've designed here. But my brain is also like shutting off. Like it's kind of just like not reading everything. It's kind of just there's a lot happening. You know what I mean? So I didn't feel as connected to the action set pieces or whatever you want to say. Like the opening of 3.0, I just kind of like they're like above the atmosphere. They're trying to get Unit 1 and that's all I can tell you about it. Like everything else is just kind of like lasers and, whatever. The opening of this movie was cool. The Eiffel Tower thing was cool. I don't know, but there's a lot of parts when it involves the ship and a bunch of stuff happening. I just kind of get into this. I just kind of frost over again. Like I'm acknowledging there's cool stuff here, but I'm kind of just. It's kind of all just. I don't know. My brain just goes dull or something. I just can't perceive all of it. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. I don't know. But there was still cool stuff in this one. Regarding like even though there was a lot happening, I still loved the insanity of these Eva, what were they called, like it's again, I only watched it the one time, but they're Mark 7s or something, I'm not sure, but the ones with the skull heads or whatever, like those look wicked. Like I love the designs of those, but yeah, it's just it's like so much happening. My brain couldn't quite pause long enough to savor it, I guess. And even though I just kind of, bagged on comparing them to the original series and original movies or whatever, I do kind of think back to, fighting the mass production Evas and how unbelievably visceral and how much weight you feel in those battles where, Asuka's getting knocked around and like she's skidding to the side and she's ripping the thing apart and it's like hanging meat and it's plopping over there and you really feel the weight of every blow in that fight, and it's one of the most engaging fights I've ever seen in animation, period. Again, I'm not trying to compare the movies versus, as ones, which one's better or what are these new ones supposed to be better. I'm not doing it from a story perspective, just the directing side of it. I'm just kind of like, would have liked to have seen a little more of the one-on-one, of the really like dialing it in on just like one battle versus the insanity of a million of them. I kind of feel like that happens. Maybe I'm overthinking this, but it kind of seems like that happens with a lot of the Galaxy Brain directors as they get older. They seem to just make battles bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger when that might actually not be like the way to do it. You know what I mean? I think about like, I remember Christopher Nolan put out Tenet last year. I really liked that movie, but I'm kind of thinking like, oh, you can turn time backwards and all that stuff. I would bet you there's going to be like a cool fight with that, and whatever. And there's some, but it has kind of this. I'm not spoiling the movie, but there's just a lot of like giant battles. And I just feel like, there's a lot going on, but I almost like don't have time to take all this in. My brain can only do so much. Again, this might just be my peanut brain, but even like I feel like Star Wars kind of went that way. Like George Lucas just kind of made every battle like have like 10,000 times the amount of ships, and I don't know. I just feel like there's a tendency to like just want to make things bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. When I don't think you need to do that. I think it's kind of cool when it boils down to just the smallest thing. Kojima is someone who nailed it, where all the stuff in Metal Gear. I guess I'm kind of like talking about, if you haven't played Metal Gear Solid 4, maybe skip 30 seconds ahead, but there's a lot of huge battles in that, but then what does it come down to at the end? It's just a man-on-man fist fight, That's the kind of shit I love. I would rather see it end smaller. But to be fair, Thrice Upon a Time, still whatever on that name, does get there. A lot of these climactic battles have so much going on, but then it does get to something that I was like, oh man, if you had paid me to write this movie. If someone was like, "Yo, Rocco, here's a check, go write the final Eva movie," I would have done this, which is the son Shinji in Unit 1, the father in the, spooky ass Unit 13, and they battle the one-on-one Eva fight. So that I was like, yes, I'm so on board for that. Absolutely love the way that transpired, because I think what was so exciting about the original Eva series, or I guess maybe I'll specify to End of Eva, which is maybe my favorite animated movie ever. So there's my bias. I just think that is just the animation in it is incredible. The story is really incredible to me, and it's it's got that whole interpretive kind of aspect to it, but it breaks every rule too. It is totally like heading for a breakdown and trying to recover from it. It's someone's struggle visualized in a way I'd never seen before. You know what I mean? So that kind of rule-breaking nature is really exciting, and I think that's something Anno still does really well. And case in point, that fight was awesome. I mean, waited to see Shinji finally beat the shit out of his dad. I mean, Masato has that line. Well, let's back it up a little bit. I'm jumping all over the place, by the way. But you have let's back it up. Gendo shows up at the fucking ship and is like, da 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 da, which he starts talking about the Dead Sea Scrolls and all that stuff, which I thought it was actually cool getting a visual for that. You hear about the Dead Sea Scrolls so much, it's like we can't see the damn thing. Like, where is it? After all these years, they kind of like did a little pan across them or whatever, and I thought that was really cool to kind of at least get just like, yo, let me get a peek, But one of the most baller things I've ever seen in any movie, animated or otherwise, something I've never quite seen in any movie. I'm going to give it a point, even just for this. I'll give it a point. That Gendo shows up. Gendo, by the way, probably my favorite character in the entire Eva franchise, whatever you want to say. Just because I've always loved that kind of character who walks that line of like, are they good or bad? Are they the villain? Can they be redeemed? They have all the tools they need to be redeemed, but they're incapable, or they don't know how, or they, these kind of like a man of power who just could be saved but could be easily corrupted. I don't know, just characters that walk that line. Can they be saved? Kind of thing. So I've always loved Gendo as my favorite character, and there's always something interesting behind him too. So the fact this movie gave us all the Gendo we could have ever wanted and more in its last act, it was like for me, it was just a fucking buffet laid out in front of me. I was just like, yep, this is exactly what I would have wanted. Had you asked me, put a gun to my head, what would you love to see in the final Eva project? It would have been, deep dive on Gendo, and we got that. So I am, if nothing else, worth the trip for that. But anyway, what was I getting at? He shows up at the Wunder, whatever the ship is called. And he's like, yo, I'm doing this shit. Second impact, about to become fourth impact. Back off, whatever he says. And then suddenly Homeboy is clipped. Boom, boom. Like just 50 Cent style. Boom, boom, boom. He gets shot, which once I saw that gunshot, I literally thought in my head, I was like, please be Ritsuko. She went to take that guy out in End of Eva. She wanted to get her little revenge moment. She didn't get it. She got clipped. It never happened. She got that in this movie. It was like every iteration of her pain and her suffering. Here's a little catharsis after all these loops, after all these replays of that. Here's a little catharsis. She shoots him. Shoot first, ask questions later, he says to her, and she's like, yeah, I learned that from you. I wish she would have said, bitch. Anyway, whatever. She shoots him, and I've never seen this in a movie before, that homeboy bends down to pick up his brains that got blown out and put them back in his head. He was like, oh, damn, man. Oh, God, right in the dome. Oh, that was truly bravo. I'd never seen that in a movie. I'm sure someone out there is going to be like, actually in Trauma, in Poultrygeist, a man is shot and he puts the brain, something like that. I don't know. But I personally had never seen that. So that was great. But anyway, he faces off with Shinji in, before Shinji goes to face, all of a sudden Shinji's like, yo, I'll pilot Unit 1. I'm doing it. That's my thing. Give me the plug suit. I'm going in. And it's like, okay, this is what we've been waiting for. I'm so excited. That moment with him and Misato where they kind of like make up and she hugs him. And oh my God, that was truly, that was one of the best moments in the whole thing. As far as I'm concerned, where she reconciled with him. She kind of was going that like Gendo 2 route, you know what I mean? Where she kind of wasn't facing, she didn't want to face these movies kind of, Eva in general, I guess, kind of like really mapped out these archetypes of people. Is that how you say it? Archetypes? Yeah. And there's that genre of person who like doesn't want to face the truths of reality and can't confront that because it rocks their own existence too much. And you see it in Gendo, and he starts to don that look, and he's got the glasses and the light is blocking his eyes, and then it's literally blocking his eyes when he gets the fucking VR visor, and then it's even taken to a more inhuman level when that thing comes off and he's got actual like fucking Evangelion glowing eye shit, or whatever he has. I don't know what you would call that, but he's more hidden than ever. And I don't think it's coincidence they use that same iconography with Misato. We find out that actually she had a son with Kaji, and she's like never even seen him. She doesn't even, she's like, oh, I'm doing good stuff for him up here. And that's my gift. That's what I can do. But I think it's really just she can't confront. Maybe she's kind of responsible for what happened with Third Impact and all of that, and she can't confront that. And so it's easier to blame the dead guy, Aka Shinji, who was dead for 14 years. They put all the blame on him. She's with that. Yeah, that guy, not me, that guy. And seeing her kind of go that route, I don't know. I thought it was interesting to kind of see the cycle of abuse continue, and you kind of see it even. Well, I'm jumping around a lot. We get Gendo talking about that too, how he treated Shinji, and he said there's one part, and he says it really quick, it blows by, where he said, I didn't know the love of my own parents, so I blah, 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 whatever he said. But I was like, there it is right there. The cycle of abuse continues. Is that happened to Gendo, and Gendo does it to his son. And then, more trauma happens. Misato kind of picks that up. She's got her own trauma to deal with, and you kind of see people who manifest trauma in like unproductive ways or hurtful ways to others, I guess. You just kind of, it's a recurring thing, and it's a big theme through Eva and these movies especially is repeating cycles. 3.0 plus 1.0. Here we go back, anyway, back to the beginning of the what is it? It's a musical term, right? 3.0 was 1.0 or whatever it was meant to be. The beginning of the, I don't know music terms. The first page of the damn song, whatever. Anyway, but so I really loved that kind of just being a recurring thing. My point is, what I wanted to get to is that battle with Shinji in Unit 1 versus Unit 13, Gendo's whole embodiment there. first of all, I like that they went into, you always heard in Eva lore about the Chamber of Guff. Oh, the Chamber of Guff. The Chamber of Guff is open, which if you know like the biblical term, it's kind of like the doorway that all the souls came out of, where it all began, where it all started. And I kind of liked that it seemed like it will, I mean, in this movie, they basically go in there. Well, what's in there? Where does it all start? And I kind of got the impression, and, you know, again, maybe I need to see it again. Maybe you have a different view of it. It was like that place was like, it was imagination. It was like where this is all thought up. And, you know, maybe on the lore level, it's like, whoa, you can't even perceive, you know, anything down here. It's kind of just your thoughts making it making it possible. And then on the meta level, it works because it's like, yeah, it's where this animation can be whatever it wants to be. You know, this is where the creativity behind these anime characters is from. You know, it's like where it all kind of, it's where ideas come from, and, you know, whatever you want to say. It worked on kind of both those levels. But I keep dancing around it. That battle, one of my favorite scenes in all of Eva, because you finally get the one-on-one, boom, boom. But it's not like, whoa, what a visceral fight, like End of Eva with the mass productions or any of that. It's not meant to be that. It's more about like the kind of the whole premise breaking down. The fight is ineffective, and we're literally breaking, sometimes literally, yes, the fourth wall, where I just felt like one of the most impactful images in all of this show or the movies, to me, I might get laughed at for this, is when either Unit 1 or Unit 13, I mean, they look very similar, I can't remember, but one of them gets knocked back and hits the fucking background of the city that they're fighting in. Like it was a matte painting on a tarp. Like like in all these old tokusatsu shows, you'd see them fighting. It's clearly like a painting in the background, and he fucking slams into that painting, and it just felt like that was so. How do you even word it? These movies are too smart for me, I'm telling you. But it's peeling back the onion so much. That's a terrible way to word it. You're seeing the germ from which all of these ideas were created. I mean, we are like burrowing into the brain of the guy who created all this in this interesting and meta way, but it's also just, it works in the same way that all the stage lighting and theater metaphor worked in the original series. It's kind of like, what are we really doing here? Is this a sci-fi battle or is this something bigger? What are we doing this for? You know what I mean? It kind of works on the are we doing this for ourselves? Are we doing this for someone else? Are we there's just this peeling back of all of it that I think is so, it's hard to explain. I don't really know how to. But it works on that level, but it also works on like Eva from the beginning. Again, think of how the original show ends. That show really kind of goes, yo, middle finger to this sci-fi story. Are you okay? Like, this is what's really important. And this movie did that on a huge scale. It's like suddenly they're fighting in the city. It's all bullshit. You're hitting the thing, you know. Yeah, it kind of maybe ties into Anno's love for tokusatsu, and that was the germ of this idea. So on that meta level, it works, but it's kind of also just like, what is it all really like, you know? So that really affected me. And then the continuation of the fight, where then they're in Masato's apartment, then they're in Rei's room, then they're in the classroom. That was 10 out of 10 imagery for me. Sorry, this computer keeps going to an annoying screensaver. But that was 10 out of 10 for me. I know some people were kind of saying like, oh, that was weird, silly, I laughed. I can't get with that, and I'll tell you why. Anno has always been good at brain breaking. I just feel like I love that they committed to logic being completely thrown out the window. And again, it works on both levels. This battle is like, they're in all the iconic locations of the show. And it's kind of like a battle among your memories of it. And, we got to do this again. No, we shouldn't. It's kind of like the best place to stage that, and I absolutely love that they threw every rule out for that. Like the scale doesn't make sense. They're knocking over sound stages in their fight. Like it's all that kind of idea that like you saw in End of Ava where they show an actual empty theater, and it was that to the next level. It was just kind of like it's part of the battle now. Like this is a battle over ideas to maintain this show and what it should be versus we got to do something else. You even have that moment where Gendo's like, I want the world you rejected. And he's straight up remixing scenes from End of Ava. He's floating in the water. It's the same shot, and he's like, we gotta do it this way. I don't know. That was like really like affecting, and you start to hear that music from End of Ava come back in. All of that to me is all by design. And anyway, I loved the breaking of the rules in that whole battle. I thought that was so creative. I have said it a million times. I really love finding that fine line between like, what do you say? Like hilarious and serious. So crazy it's hilarious, but it's incredibly serious. You know what I mean? Stuff that can walk that line is my favorite. And this did that. That was so my shit. Them fighting among all those different rooms and the different scales. But as you probably have seen, again, I don't know why you're watching this if you haven't seen the movie. They realize this battle's going nowhere. It's really not. And that to me was the next most powerful part in this movie. Was the true final battle was communication. The greatest hurdle in all of Evangelion, we're talking when it comes to the lore, when it comes to the emotions, when it comes to the relationships, it's everything in that show was just bad communication. Even to you, the viewer, maybe the communication wasn't so great. And it's funny because I remember when it was over, they go in on a lot of characters. I mean, First of all, okay, let me just back up. Again, one of the things that if I could like pay money to get something in this movie, like, do this, it would be something that I thought I should say was missing in the rebuild movies. I really enjoyed all of them, but I thought, it's a bummer we haven't had a good mental breakdown scene. The original show was chock full of them, where you'd hear the, doom, 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 and abstract images and sketches and all that stuff. That, I was like, that's one of my favorite aspects of the old show. Kind of wish it was in rebuild. But I think I remember Anno saying something too, like, I think we can tell stories better. Like, we could find more effective ways of telling stories now than just kind of like, mopey kind of just black and white images and stuff like that. Taking that route. I know what he's saying. But that doesn't mean I didn't love those parts of the original show. But man, they came back with a vengeance, because guess what? Tables turned, bitch. Gendo. sit down in the fucking train, bro. Now it's your turn. I can't think of a better counterattack in this show. You could have had, or in this series, whatever. You could have easily had, oh, we beat Gendo, we fucking shoot him with the thing, we stabbed him with the lance. Oh, Ray came out of nowhere and sniped him. Oh, you could have had the cool physical comeback. I love that it wasn't about that. The final battle of Eva was communication. And Gendo could never fucking do it. He could never get to the root of what the problem was, because the truth was he was always the problem. He was the root of all this bad shit from top to bottom. And he never wanted to investigate that or cop to that or whatever. And the fact that they got him in the hot seat at the end, the fact that not only did we get one of those cool mental breakdown scenes, but it was on Gendo, and it's Shinji fucking standing over him in the train. Here's little kid Gendo going, oh, like that, and fucking Shinji is standing above him. That's the greatest victory in Evangelion history. I mean, that right there, you could have ended the fucking movie on that. I mean, you got the whole last scene is happy, whatever. That is like the victory of the entire thing right there. Is like, I was pumping my fist like it was fucking Captain America picking up the hammer. Like, I know that sounds really stupid, but it's the best that's the most normie comparison I can think of. No, it's the most general, like, maybe people will know what the hell I'm talking about. But for me, that was that. That was like, oh my God, that was worth the price of admission right there. And again, I love any kind of history of Nerve, backstory of Gendo, anything we get in that department, I love. So the fact that we got that, it was in the kind of sketchy manga look, was really cool. We got some answers on Mari. You know, we kind of suspected from some things that were in the manga, right? That she was as old as Gendo and Yui and all that stuff, which, you know, she might be kind of robbing the cradle later. I don't know about that. But the fact that he went through all that and realized kind of what he had done and what, oh God, that was like, oh, after all these years, that was something I was absolutely just hoping for, and we got it. And I was, I couldn't have been happier. That was 10 out of 10 for me. But the fact that I love that, again, communication was the final battle. He did that there, but then you got all these other moments with all the other characters too. You know, Kaoru, you said you just want to make me happy, but I think that makes you happy. Like, me being happy makes you happy. You don't really need me. Like, you're capable of being happy, you know? And then they're looking back, right? I think that's around when they start looking back at, like, when he was, like, you know, broing up with Kaji, you know, they were like, you know, a team. Like, hey, you know, cool, we could be BFFs, you know? Which, is that Kaoru? Again, only watched it once. Is that Kaoru that's with Kaji in that little flashback moment? Is that a different Kaoru than the one that pilots Unit 13 later? It makes me think they got another Kaoru off the moon or something. I think that's what happened, but I don't know. And that would make sense why he's working for Gendo and Futsuki rather than rebelling against them like he was with Kaji, right? I don't know. You let me know. But, you know, he's like, yo, Kaoru, you know what's up, right? I mean, come on, man. Yeah, you know, you're right. Shake hands. All right, cool. You know, like, they have a great moment. Asuka and Shinji are on the end of Eva Beach. And I don't know what's going on. It's so funny the way that they have her. I do have to say, like, the way they have her, like, drawn in that scene. For a second, it's almost like, is he going to sit on the beach and, like, apologize to her for all the hentai that was drawn about her or something? You know, like, the way she's drawn, he's just like, I thought he was going to be like, yo, so you saw that on DeviantArt too? Yo, I'm sorry about that. On behalf of me, the original jerk offer, I'm going to apologize on behalf of everyone who's done that, you know, kind of thing. You know what I mean? I didn't know what was going to happen. But the more I've been thinking about it, I'm like, was she like bursting out of her plug suit because she got older? You know what I mean? Like, is she the original Asuka? And and she got older. You know, we see later towards the end of the movie, you actually see an older Shinji and you see an older Mari and stuff. Had Asuka kind of grown up too? Like, was the Curse of Eva broken kind of thing? You know what I mean? I don't know. You tell me. Again, tell me what you think. That doesn't matter. Point is, he's on the beach with her, and he's like, I just love the simplicity. It's a conversation. It's a conversation we've never heard in Eva. Where he's like, yo, earlier in the movie, well, he didn't say earlier in the movie, but, you know, earlier when you said you, back then you liked me, thanks for telling me that, you know, I liked you too. It's not going to work, but, you know, they're just directly talking about it instead of this vague shit. He just tells her, yeah, dude, I was into you too. I was. And, you know, earlier in the movie, Rey kind of has that revelation, maybe kind of like too late in life, but she says it too before she goes. You know, I wanted to spend time with the boy I liked, that's an amazing moment in the movie too. But yeah, so I loved all of that communication and all of that. I don't know, you got all these sweet moments to the point though that, and then you get to the last scene, you know, and it's a world without Evangelion, and I mean, I was, let me just say this, I was very moved by older Shinji and older Mari, and I'm not one of these shipper people who's like, no, he was supposed to be with Rey, I don't care. I like that she is there and she represents like a whole new chapter for him. I dig that. I'm a fan of that, so I'm just getting that out there. But it's a very sweet ending. And I almost kind of thought when it was over, I was like, I almost wonder if that was kind of like too cute of an ending for Evangelion, you know? Like, I really liked it, but I almost wonder if that was almost too cute of a, you know, this is a show. I mean, like, End of Eva ends as like David Lynch as you can do it, you know? You get a really, I'll just back that up. My favorite kind of ending, this is just me, to me, the perfect type of ending is the kind that you kind of wrap everything up, you give the big emotional climax, but you do one thing that is going to drive people crazy forever. Like, they're going to have to talk about it and argue about it forever. That's my favorite kind of ending. End of Eva, nailed it. If you watch it and really maybe watch it again and, you know, whatever, you see it a few times, you can kind of parse what's happening. You really see how it really is a really uplifting message. A really uplifting ending about making peace with yourself and where you are and who you are and all of that. But then it gives you that last scene where it's like, wait, why is he strangling her? Why you idiot? Why are you and she feels sick. And it's like, yeah, man, this is the real world. And that's awesome. You accepted it, but that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. You're still going to be awkward as fuck, and you better fix that. Police are coming. They heard me talking about jerking it earlier. But anyway, you know what I mean? It's like, can't just, you know, glad you made the right choice and the healthy choice in instrumentality for things to be real and have boundaries and all that. But that's just it, man. Things have boundaries. And you're testing them, and sometimes you're going to lose. And what you're doing right now is not cool. Can't just strangle someone, dipshit. You know, oh, you're testing the boundaries? Yeah, all right, fuck you, you know? Great message, but things are still going to take work, you know? At least that's my interpretation. That's just it. Everyone has a different one. And that ending to me, that's why it's the perfect ending. I love it. So this one had a comparatively kind of sweet ending, and I thought, yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I thought it was good. I mean, I didn't think it was like, well, fuck this ending. You know, it wasn't like that, but it was kind of like, what do I think about that? I don't know. But then I thought about it more, and I was like, you know, we got that ending. that ending that I like the original show, this classic show, famously ended with it. And after all these years, you know, this was a show that was known for being autobiographical and insightful, and, you know, it meant so many things to so many people. It finally, after all that, cracked communication and the value in that, and the value in, like, just being good to other people and helping people. And it just, this movie cracked all the little things that, like, you should learn as a kid when you watch something like Bambi, but you just don't still quite get it, you know. All these little things that are basic to life that you have to, like, destroy your own existence to learn yourself, you know? Anno had to basically destroy the world of Evangelion and destroy his own life to end it that first time. I think they've earned peace. You know what I mean? I think they earned through making those connections and just growing up and realizing how to tackle those things. It wasn't about a giant monster battle. It was just about talking. You know, you have to talk. And I think it kind of was like, you know, we to go through all that and have that revelation and then have, like, another shitty thing happen at the end. I just feel like we did that. We learned about tearing things down. It's time to build things up. You know, I don't know. I'm still, you know, at the end of the day, there's the edgy part of me and the, you know, the punk rock part of my director brain or whatever. I don't really have a director brain, but you know what I mean? The creative part of my brain that is always going to love End of Eva. That's my favorite piece of the whole Evangelion pizza. Don't know why I referred to it as that, but that's my favorite ending. That's still my favorite thing in the library. But I think for what it is now, a reflection on, like, as I said at the beginning, a reflection on the material. Where do I sit with it now as an older adult? You know, referring to, like, Anno, or as a viewer. As a reflection on it, this was the way to go, I think. And they still left us with plenty of things to think about. Again, the lore ran deep. So there's lots of stuff to still think about on that side. But from the character side, we really learned the value of not being afraid to reach out, you know, and be open with other people. And I don't know. I feel like that was really the message, and to have some psycho thing happen. I don't know if that would have worked as well in the end. But I do love a good weird ending, so I guess there's still part of me that's like, oh, a little something would have been cool. But anyway, I'm trying to think of anything else I really want to talk about. But like I said, I overall really enjoyed it. You know, I have a few like I said, it's really for me kind of the middle section where there's a lot of the ship stuff. I just kind of like, I just kind of don't pay attention to that as much. But really getting that slice of life at the beginning and all the mind blower stuff in the last, however long of it, I don't know how much of that there was at the end. The whole last act brought it all together. So I really liked it. Oh, how awesome was it that we got we got Neon Genesis. We got the name. They name dropped it. A New Beginning, Neon Genesis. Bro, they dropped the fucking name. You know, I mean, it was the equivalent of like, we really are Breaking Bad. You know, oh, I'm sure I'm sick of all these Star Wars. We got Neon Genesis name drop. Oh, that just took me back to being a high schooler going, what the hell does that mean? Why do they call it that? They never say that in the show. Why is it Neon Genesis? Like, what are you saying? Man, that was again, maybe that's a laugh. I don't know, but the fact that to me, that I don't know, that just brought it home to me. It's like, yeah, let's create another story. Sure, as it was in the beginning, and I love that that's delivered. I mean, they're straight up watching old episodes of the show on a projector in the mocap studio, which I don't know, a lot of people don't know this, but if you turn on Amazon Prime, you search Hideaki Anno, they put up a whole special on the making of the movie that's subtitled and everything, and like they didn't like put it up with the movies, like you have to search for it. I don't know, I thought that was kind of lame, but it's the same mocap studio that they made the movie in. It's like, again, if you just need it was just so autobiographical. It was just so like a creator kind of just putting the last touches on his little masterpiece, And so I really love that. The soundtrack was incredible. I really loved the soundtrack. That's another thing that pissed me off, though. The movie was over, and I'm like going for a drive, and I'm like, okay, well, how do I, I got to listen to the soundtrack. Where is that? You go on like Apple Music or Spotify or whatever, and you're searching Evangelion, nothing. At least, okay, I use Apple Music, so that's what I was. Maybe it's just an Apple Music problem. But I'm searching Evangelion, nothing. Okay, Thrice Upon a Time, nothing. 3.0 plus 1.0, nothing. Well, I guess it's not on Apple Music. I come in here today and Garrett's listening to the soundtrack on Apple Music. I'm like, how did you get this? Oh, you searched Shiro Sagasu, the composer. That's how you let it look it up. I mean, searching Evangelion does not pull it up. Guys, what's going on? Another bone I want to pick is the release of this on Amazon. It really pissed me off. One, that they didn't say what time it was going to go up. It was the day of, and it's like, okay, you're going to let us know when this is going up? It's like sometimes they put out movies on Greenwich time, which means like it would have been out here like 4 or 5 or 6 p.m. on a Thursday. I think with Borat they did that, I think. There's that, or is it going to be like midnight our time, or is it like 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern? No one would say anything, and they never did. And I wanted to try. I honestly was trying to coordinate it with my friends to watch it. I mean, Ava is something I don't mind watching on my own, and sometimes by yourself you get a different perspective. I mean, ask Garrett, and he insisted on watching it by himself. But my friends are cool, and they're not going to giggle like a theater full of anime fans normally. I actually learned of a theater screening of this movie, and was like, ooh, I'm going to wait for that. And then I thought, every other time I've seen anime in a movie theater, it's been non-stop giggling. Never mind, I'm out. No, but I couldn't make it anyway. But anyway, yeah, so where was like, oh, it bugged me that they didn't give the time. And then also, guys, they put up all 4 Rebuild movies, which the first 3 kind of got hard to find. Like the Blu-rays are out of print and, stuff like that. They couldn't have staggered them like, okay, Tuesday you put out Ava 1.0, Wednesday you put out 2.0, Thursday 3.0. I know people who were excited to watch these ahead of time and all get together and watch that last movie. And they couldn't do it. All 4 went up at the same time. I don't know. I just thought like they could have done this better. So I don't know. That being said, shout out that Amazon got it out. I mean, we would have been waiting another year for this damn movie if it weren't for them, so I'm not complaining too much. I just wish it could have been like a more fun event had they participated a little bit more. That's just nitpicky. I'm very grateful that they brought it here at all, and I got to watch it big screen at home, no distraction. That was cool. I really got to hand it to him. And I'm happy. I didn't watch the dub, but I'm happy to see Tiffany Grant playing Asuka again. That was just like... The fact they brought back the original actors was a good move. I don't know what Netflix did with that whole thing, but they did a great job. So that was cool. Anyway, Loved all that. The anime. Oh, I loved the. I think I was talking to Johnny earlier, and he really summed it up well. That like they use CG in this movie. You know, sometimes it's kind of like, oh, they hide this. They hide that this thing is CG, and they don't want to. Okay. Or they use it in an inappropriate way. But I thought in this movie they kind of used it artistically. That's what Johnny said actually, and I'm just passing that along. But yeah, they used it artistically in really interesting ways instead of like hiding that it's CG, whatever. They really utilized it, and I love that. I really love that what they did with Lilith rising up out of the chamber or whatever of Guff. I think that's where it was. I don't know. The terminology kind of escapes me at this point, but that like almost kind of like more uncanny valley realistic version of her. And again, I've heard some people say like, "Oh, why? What was this design? Did they intend for it to be?" Bro, Ono, I just love that in 2021 he still knows how to make an upsetting design. Do you know what I mean? Like the way that we saw Lilith's body move in End of Eva was shocking in the 90s. Seeing her just kind of like smiling as her head rots off her body and stuff like that, like I'd never seen anything like that, and that was shocking. And how do you do that again? How do you get a shock again? And I think the fact that it looked like borderline stupid, and I mean that in a good way, it was jarring and shocking to see this grotesquely real looking thing. Again, it left that world of imagination. It's like I'm quoting like a Willy Wonka song or something, but again, it's like it was kind of from the other side. Maybe it's from a more realistic side, which it in itself is kind of sorrowful. It's not a cartoon anymore. It's this grisly real thing. And is that what he's after? Is that, I don't know. What was Black Lilith? I don't know who. Black Lilith. I don't know. Not sure on that one. So I need to watch it again, as I've said 1,000 times. And then there's also a part. I think I was mostly on deck with most of the lore stuff. I can't tell you about the spears. If you put a gun to my head, I couldn't do it. Like, oh, there's 2 spears. No, there's 4. Well, here's another spear. All I know is, they made their own. That was cool. The Spear of Gaius or whatever. But I can't tell you about the other ones. Like, how did he get this? And the Adams situation, I didn't really. I need to watch that again. The thing that eluded me the most, though, was there's one part where, what do they say? There's like a part where it breezes by. They just say, yeah, it's like we were in Bebe or Beyblade or something. They use one term one time. Or maybe they say it twice, but it was like, yeah, it's like when we were in Bebe's Kids. I don't know what they say, but there's something with a B. Or like a beta sign or something. Do you know what I'm talking about? There's one part where they mentioned that, and it was like, I'm sorry, I don't know what that is. I guess the questions that I have now that it's all said and done are, well, we still don't really know the full story of what happened in that 14-year gap. The impression that I got was that Shinji started near Third Impact, got shit all fucked up. They stopped it. Kaoru and Kaji, and all the others at Nerve were like, yo, Gendo, Fuyutsuki, you know about this shit? Fuck you. Out. They kicked them out. Again, this is just stuff maybe I'm kind of piecing together. I may be wrong. But Kaoru and Gendo kind of like became like head honchos at Nerve. Like, yo, we're doing our Nerve thing. We're going to run this shit. And then Fuyutsuki and Gendo went somewhere. And it's probably what we saw in the preview where they were like on a mountain with a donkey or something. I don't know what they were chilling with a donkey. But they came back and then actually started Third Impact. And that's why we see whatever happened there. Lilith is there and like Unit 6 rips their fucking head off. And then that's what Kaji is like, yo, this is bad. I'm gonna self-sacrifice to stop this. And I thought, I get the impression that him and Kaoru both died stopping that. And that's what makes me think Kaoru in Eva 3.0, the one that's in Unit 13 with Shinji, is like another Kaoru they went and got off the moon. That's my guess. You tell me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what happened there. But Kaji and Kaoru died, I believe, when they were stopping this actual third impact that Gendo and Futsuki did, which that was the creation of Will or Vil. Again, I don't know how to say this shit, but like they stole a bunch of nerve shit. This rogue group, like, yo, Gendo and Futsuki, fuck those guys, we're out, and they made their own group, Will, and that was the beginning of it. And what I did think was cool, I remember people who went and saw Eva 3.0. They just re-released it in theaters before the new movie. And they redid it a little bit. They made it like, now it's Eva 3.3333333, whatever. And all it was they put it in IMAX and like made a couple shots look a little nicer. They color it nicer or something like that. But one of the shots in it was the downed chopper when in Eva 3.0 when Unit 13 is walking around in that bed of skulls and they're stomping around, you see a chopper kind of laying there. And they really cleaned that shot up to make sure you could see the Will logo on the side of the helicopter. And I was like, I remember hearing that from people who saw it in theaters. It's like, why would they emphasize that? Like, why would they be showing that? And then I realized watching this movie when Kaji's like, yo, I'm going to go die, peace out. He's heading into that chopper with the blue Will logo. So in 3.0, we saw his final resting place and didn't know it. That adds a little extra emotion to that part. I'm like, that, like, damn. So I thought that was kind of cool. That was just the thing I thought was cool. But anyway, I have questions about that time gap. Which, I said this on Twitter, I truly believe there will be another Eva thing. I don't think it's over. I think Anno's done and Shinji's story is done. But mark my word right now, there's going to be a new Eva series. And the way you do it without people being like, oh, come on, don't leave it alone. Why are you doing another Eva thing? Is it's going to be during that 14-year period. Mark my word on that. Then the Shinji part will be divorced from it because he was gone during that time. And, you know, that without Shinji, the show would have a whole different energy. Don't you think? Like, it's not going to be that crying side to it anymore. Not that I didn't like it, but, you know, it'll have a totally different energy, and they could put Kaoru and Kaji in the lead. And how many people are going to go ape over that? They're going to love that, you know? And then you could tell all these twisted things that happened in that 14-year period where the world was just being wrecked, you know? I think there's that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to be another movie. I don't think it's going to be Anno's thing. I think he's going to pass it to a younger guy. Like, go make that show. I told the Shinji story. It's over. Tell your story. That's what I think is going to happen. See if I'm right. Anyway, so I have questions about that whole time. I have questions about, I didn't quite understand Asuka's deal. I did think it made sense that, like, oh, yo, she got infected with an angel and that's why she's got this eye patch. She's keeping it at bay with the anti-L or whatever they call it, rod, that thing that keeps all the bad shit away, you know, like angel energy or whatever, I don't know, whatever. She's got that in her eye and she pulls it out and just succumbs to being an angel blood. Like, that was awesome. But then it's like, oh, there's a series of her, like, so is the one that we see pull that out, that's not the original that was in Unit 3? Or did they clone her corpse or something because they wanted to have like an angel of their own in their possession to use? You know what I mean? I didn't quite understand the series aspect of Asuka in this. I didn't really get that. If you have any insight on that, put it in the comments, let me know. But I didn't really, that's one part I need to see that again. I'm like, okay, at what point was she not the original Asuka? Or was she always part of a series? She might have always been part of a series. And who Shinji talks to at the end on the beach, that struck me as the original. But, you know, her ghost is in there, you know. Her ghost was in Unit 13 or whatever. I don't know. You tell me. I was a little lost on that. Need to watch it again. So I have questions on that. You know, Mari, we kind of got the answer that she was in. I mean, I took it as like when Futsuki looks at that photo that we saw in 3.0 and everyone was like, is that Mari in that picture? That's her, right? I mean, that's her. And I just took it as like the curse of Eva kept her young, just like it did for Shinji, right? Like that, like maybe all the experiments kept her like that. That's what I got. I didn't get that there were like clones of her, but the Asuka thing I kind of didn't understand. So maybe I just need to see that again. But in general, I feel like I have much more of a whole understanding than I thought I would. So I'm feeling pretty good. Again, nothing's gonna top the original. Nothing's gonna top the original series or the movie for me. That was already written in the book of life. Great reference. But that was already written. But for revisiting and reflecting, I thought they did a great job. I enjoyed all the movies. Now that they're all out, I would say 3 is probably my least favorite. 3 or 1, I always was very forgiving to 3 because it has it kind of goes in really inexplicable directions. Like, I don't know what's happening. And I know you're kind of meant to feel that way. You're meant to feel the same as Shinji after waking up for 14 years with no clue what's going on. I get that, but, it was kind of a little bit like, you got to give me something here. I don't really know kind of what to react to. But I was always very forgiving of that movie. I still enjoyed it a lot. I think there's a lot of great development in that movie. But I always kind of waited for the 4th one to know, like, this seems like part 1 of the ending. And the 4th one will be part 2 of the ending. You know what I mean? So I'm glad I waited for that, and I felt like it did. I felt like the 4th one really completed the story. And so I'm glad I waited. But now that it's, to kind of see the whole thing, but I will say now that it's over, 3 probably is my least favorite just for the fact that I think it was incredibly bold. I think that, Anno said he wanted to tell the story of that 14 years of the world being destroyed, but it would have not had Shinji in it. And everyone's like, you're really not going to have Shinji in your movie? Okay, so he didn't do that. And instead thought it would be more bold to just skip right to Shinji waking up and he has no fucking clue what's happening. And there's a whole chapter we didn't get to see. And here's all the remnants of it. It is bold. It's bold. And it's that kind of, it sounds lame when I describe it that way, but it's kind of that punk rock nature of Eva to kind of just like, fuck the rules. Like, look what we... it's more provocative to just shove you into something you don't understand. So I appreciate the boldness, but I don't know if that worked. I still feel like it ended and people are still going, what happened in that chunk of time? What was Shinji actually responsible? Everyone's like, you're responsible for all this stuff that happened. Was he? It seemed like other stuff happened too. So I don't know if that paid off. Skipping that 14 years. Bold from a writing standpoint. Bold. And it's exciting to do bold things. I don't know if that paid off. But watching all 4 together, it does make that matter a little less. It tells a pretty strong story, I think. And that's what matters. So I like them all. I'm going to rank them. I might have liked this one the most. 2 was kind of the perfect amount of everything, though. You know what I mean? Let's revisit the material, and then let's kind of like give you something bold you never knew. But I almost feel like 2, it almost makes it almost a statement about like, we kind of get the fan service we always wanted at the end of 2, vis-a-vis the reaching for Rei. Oh my God, Shinji's actually doing this for Rei, but and it's almost like the fan service we always wanted to see, but then it kind of like destroys his world a little bit. And I almost wonder if it's a statement on like too much fan service in a story, too much catering to the fans versus going your own way. I don't know. That might be a subject for another conversation, but still overall really enjoyed 2. I think that might be my favorite. Then I'm going to put this. Those might be interchangeable. I really like this one, but 2 kind of just, to me, hit the perfect note of all the things I love in Eva. It was all there. This one, I really love. I love how it begins. I love how it ends. The middle, I have some stuff I'm kind of like, I glaze a little bit over, but loved it. Still really loved it. And then 1 was just classic Eva in the biggest budget kind of thing, and I really appreciate that. And then 3.0 had, to me, some of the most amazing stuff in any of them, but just the alienation aspect of it makes it a little hard to connect to. But I still love it. I liked all 4 of them a lot. And, you know, at first when I saw the ending, again, I thought, is this too cute? Is this, you know, whatever? As I told you, I kind of wrestled with that a little bit. But something I was very confused about was Shinji is an older guy, which I love that visual. I love that. But he's still got the DSS choker on. I'm like, how is that still on him? Homeboy's old. Like, that's still on? And then Mari walks up and just takes that thing off of him. Like, come on, let's go run up the stairs or whatever. And I thought, oh, okay. At this point, the plot behind that choker doesn't matter. That was the burden of Evangelion and everything that came with it in one object. That's Anno sitting there on the bench, and she kind of, and here comes Anno's wife and comes in and takes that off and is like, you're done with that. The burden is now over. Let's go start our new life together, you know? So how can I complain about that? You know, there's things, as Eva taught us, even in the original series, there's things that trump plot. There's things that trump the sci-fi side of it. So, good ending. Enjoyed them. I think that's all I have to say. How long did this go? This was meant to be a quick thing. Oh my god. If this was more than 15 minutes, I'm going to be so pissed. Somebody's got to tell me to stop. Anyway, let me know what you thought about it. And I'm curious because, again, I'm just coming right off this. I haven't really talked to a lot of people about it, so I'm just curious how everyone else feels about it. So I'm sure it's not going to be the last time I bring it up either. So anyway. We never got Magma Diver to come back. Shit.